obviously we need further study to be able to say that's weird. Is it weird because it's just had some cocaine? Is it weird because it's actually come into contact with some other chemical? There's all these different things to consider, but you can look at it and go, that isn't straight and level. What's going on here?
How's it going, man?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Yeah. And yourself? You well?
Yeah, doing great. Thank you.
Excellent. Excellent.
So the first thing I want to ask you is I was watching Cocaine Sharks, and even just the setup to this was insane because you briefly mentioned salmon on cocaine and trout addicted to meth. So I guess my first question is like, how common is this in general? Like animals interacting with drugs?
It's likely a lot more common than we know. So there was a very interesting study done over here in the Thames, which runs through London, and they found that even though the Thames, in terms of water quality, has, due to a lot of various laws and good conservation, has started to improve, they actually found that of 15 samples taken across, and the Thames is huge, all right? It's massive. It's no Mississippi, but it's still a big one, okay? And they found that 15 water samples taken throughout the Thames, all the water samples contain cocaine, every single one of them. And the shrimp, they were sampling shrimp as well because they were a good invertebrates. So things that don't have a proper spine are always a really good indicator of water quality because they can't really handle changes too much. They tend to get hammered by it. So they're really good litmus test. So they sampled shrimp at all these locations, and each one of these shrimp contained cocaine. So, and that's London. Obviously, London sucks. So there's a good reason why people are taking a ton of Charlie in there. I'd be a drug addict if I had to live in London as well. It's a fabulous city, just kidding. But so that's just one city. So, look at all the others. And it isn't just illicit drugs in terms of things like cocaine. We are seeing things like birth control and antidepressants, the after effects of things like cough medicine. Basically any drug that we put in us doesn't get fully, used up by our bodies. And of course we excrete it out. That goes into our water network, makes its way downriver. So with Cocaine Shark, while we're looking at this, very kind of unique example that probably couldn't happen anywhere else in the world, which is a shark getting a genuinely massive dose of cocaine, actually, this kind of under the radar, low flow of various things is happening across certainly the westernized cultures where, illicit drug use is so high.
In Cocaine Sharks, you're looking for signs that in shark behavior, right, that indicate the cocaine use. How much time, I mean, maybe you've spent so much time with them you don't even realize, but like how much time does it take to know these animals well enough to be able to recognize, something that is abnormal in their behavior?
With sharks, you can be, as long as you've spent some time there in the first place, and obviously I have, and I was also working, the dive team I was working with had Mark Rackley on it, who is, he's a shark god. So, when you always look up to, a bit of extra experience as well. And, going between us, we can look at these animals and just go, it's not behaving right, and it's not as hard as you'd think if you know what to look for. Like, for example, many people have a dog or a cat at home. Now, if your dog's lying asleep on the sofa, nice and easy, taking it chill, you can be fairly sure he's pretty happy about life. If the dog's up and down and it's pacing and it's panting, you don't need to be a vet to know something's not right with that animal. And that's kind of what we're looking at. So we know what they should be happy with, what their behaviors usually are. And so we were looking for different behaviors, and they can be things like not being able to swim level in the water, strange bursts of speed, strange changes in behavior, like a lack of energy, a lack of, locomotion, and like tight swimming or strange swimming, that kind of thing. So you can look at that shark and you can go, that's weird. Now, obviously, we need further study to be able to say that's weird. Is it weird because it's just had some cocaine? Is it weird because it's actually come into contact with some other chemical? There's all these different things to consider, but you can look at it and go, that isn't straight and level. What's going on here?
You also have Great White Fight Club, where you go to New Zealand to study female white sharks. They're probably one of the most recognizable animals on the planet for people that aren't in the field. How much don't we know about them?
Well, for Great White Fight Club, that was Michelle Jewell's baby. That was her show. And I was just really, really lucky to be involved with that and to work with Michelle, because she is just such a fantastic person to work with. And she knows so much as well. So, that was a great chance to learn from her, as it always is whenever I get a chance to work with her. But when it comes to sharks, there is still so much we don't know in terms of things like behavior. Great whites, one of the things that Michelle and I were hypothesizing when we were out there was, are we seeing mating behavior? Are we seeing sort of dominance behavior? And behavior is so very, very difficult to categorize. And it takes hours and hours and hours of study and replicated experiments for you to really be able to put your flag down and go, no, this is this, because you can't ask the shark what's wrong with it. And one of the things as well, doing the research for, cocaine shark, we know so little in terms of a shark's brain and how a shark's brain works. We're always finding new things out every day. So, with something like a great white, while there are, areas that we are more aware of in terms of certainly the impacts that they can have through their lower populations in terms of ecology and such, their private lives and their inner workings, they're still very much unknown.
I'm also curious, like, you, in addition to being a biologist, you are a fantastic host of a show. Even from talking to you, like, you're great at all of that stuff as well.
Very
Did
kind.
one come more naturally to you?
Like what?
Are you more comfortable like examining animals and doing science and doing that, or being in front of the camera? Like, was one harder for you to get comfortable with? Or are you just like,
I'm just me, mate. I'm just me. I mean, the one thing I try and work on is that I am not interesting. I am a human being. I am very, very plain, very, very boring creature. We know a lot about ourselves. All right. What is interesting is the shark, is the creature. So if I'm going to be, whenever I do, whenever I'm presenting or broadcasting, there has to be a reason for me to be between you and the animal. Otherwise, it should be the animal up front, and I can be in the background telling you about it. But, I am not one of those presenters who, it would be like going to the Louvre and saying, oh, we're going to go and see the Mona Lisa, and the person doing the tour standing in front of the Mona Lisa and saying, this is the Mona Lisa, now move on. That's not how I work. And it's because, I've no interest in it. There are plenty of good-looking human beings out there, male and female, that, need their time in the sun. For me, I just want to play Zelda underwater.
Thank you, man. I think that's all the time I got for you. But,
no worries, mate.
I appreciate it, man. I got to say, I'm a bass player too. I was seeing your posts and stuff, so that's awesome.
Good man. What do you play?
I have my favorites. I have like a Fender P bass, a lot of like rock singer-songwriter stuff. But yeah.
Good man.
Not metal. I'm not as bad.
Vampire, so yeah.
Yeah, man. But
good stuff. Well, cheers, dude. You have a good one. Thanks for dropping by.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for taking the time.
Cheers, buddy.